What if you scribbled an idea on a napkin and it became a limitless scale tech company poised for exit? What if you had a vision of eliminating an inefficiency in your community, industry, or the world, and you had a chance to co-found a company and bring this product or service to the market? What if we could positively impact every social issue with tech? 10x Tech Tank is the #1 daily show for everything tech entrepreneurship. And whether you are technical or not, you will learn, be inspired, and witness transformation in the making. People will share tech ideas on napkins. People will showcase minimum viable tech products. People will explain their cash-flowing tech companies looking for acceleration. And if the person is right, and their idea is right, and the market is right, and the business model is right, then there's a great chance you will witness some serious magic. We are on a mission to build, scale, and sell 10,000 tech companies in 10 years. And we invite you to make history with us. Together, we achieve more.
Welcome to 10x Tech Tank. I am Jared Yellin. We have a very special guest today. My dear friend Darren Prince is here from California, and this is a man that has achieved incredible levels of success as an entrepreneur, but even more as a human being. The impact that he's currently making based on the journey that he has gone through is just absolutely, it gives me the goosebumps. The first time I heard his story, it just stuck with me. I'm like, I need to help tell this story. So I invited him to come out to the studio, and we're going to be doing a NASDAQ interview today as well, which will air on Tech Talk with Jared Yellin. So look for that as well. Darren, man, if you just give a quick version of who you are, and thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here, man. It's a long time coming. So I started Prince Marketing Group in 1994 with Magic Johnson as my first client, still is to this day. Muhammad Ali, Evil Knievel, Smoking Joe Frazier, the late Hulk Hogan, Charlie Sheen, Chevy Chase, Ric Flair, Denise Richards, Carmen Electra. We have so many iconic figures, Oscar De La Hoya. But my real passion, as you know, is on July 2nd, 2008, I had my own God moment, fell to my knees from a 24-year opiate addiction, and became an international best-selling author when I wrote Aiming High about 3.5 years ago, and I'm now using that gift as my purpose in life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so many are out there suffering with mental health and substance abuse. So took the platform I built as an agent to some of the most iconic figures of all time and pushing this message to help people.
Yeah, because listen, like when people's most significant challenge becomes their greatest opportunity to serve, I just want to support it. And you'll see, even with the pitches today, there's story behind them. Like there's something that's driving these entrepreneurs to even think of these solutions in the first place.
Yeah.
Like some event took place and they're like, no more. One of our founders, her name is Crystal Morrison. She's the co-founder of Meerkat Village, and she's a mom. She's a scientist by background. And when she started having children, her son was born on the spectrum. And she decided, I'm gonna put my career completely on hold because I want to be a mom to my son. And the biggest challenge she faced over the past 20 years is she couldn't be a mom to her son because she had to juggle between the OT and the PT and the speech and the behaviorist and the teacher, and she was the liaison of information. And she's like, I just want to be a mom. Like, I don't want to quarterback knowledge. Like, I want you guys to communicate with each other, but there was no way for them to communicate. And she just made a declaration. She said, I'm going to build the solution to help every family in the future that has a situation that I just went through for the past 20 years. And that's what we're building with there.
Incredible.
So when people's greatest challenge becomes their why, like their driving force, they become unstoppable.
Absolutely.
Because you're just unstoppable now with this message. So I'm excited to hear entrepreneurs on the show tonight, right? We have entrepreneurs literally that are going to pitch us from around the world. Like I told you, these could be as early as the ingredients of a napkin. Like it could be. It could even be a napkin. Sometimes there's a prototype, and then other times there's a minimum viable product. And what we need you to do as you're watching us is chime in the chat. Let us know which of these entrepreneurs that you stand behind, which of these ideas would you use? Which of these ideas should we say yes to move forward in due diligence with? And please share politely why we shouldn't move forward with entrepreneurs. We want to be influenced, right?
Absolutely.
We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know if it's the next big thing, but you might be able to support us in that. So please,
you could enlighten us on something we don't know.
Exactly.
I'm older,
who is this first entrepreneur? I told you I don't even know, right? So it's a surprise for me too. Please let the first entrepreneur into the tank.
What if you knew about Instagram or Slack or Clubhouse when the company was raising a friends and family round at $10,000 per person? What if you were able to see all the tech companies that Grant Cardone and Jared Yellin have co-founded in one place and invest in any that excite you? What if you were able to expand your portfolio into early stage tech companies with extraordinary founders and teams? 10x Tech Angels is the most unique investment club that you will ever find because not only will you see some of the most innovative tech companies at the lowest valuations ever, but you will also be educated on how to pick tech winners, meet other members of our community, and experience the excitement associated with taking an early idea to exit. Become one of the founding members of 10x Tech Angels for an exclusive offer with some extraordinary bonuses. To learn more, visit 10xtechangels.com.
All right, our first entrepreneur is here. Ready for it, Darren?
Good to meet you,
All right,
man.
what is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Josh Vanderveen. I'm calling from Melbourne, Australia.
Awesome. Well, thank you for calling from Australia. You have 5 minutes. Please share your big tech idea. We're super excited. Take it away.
Okay, so today we all live really exciting lives. We're all very busy. You guys know this. You're trying to 10x absolutely everything. There's been so much technical advancement in just about every area of our lives. We've got these smartphones that do almost everything automated. But the one area in our lives that really lacks is actually the kitchen. Now, you might think, oh, well, we've got some technology advancements in the kitchen, but there's not really a lot that controls the inflows and the outflows of the way that we run our homes. So, for instance, guys, I don't know if you're familiar with a unit or an appliance called a Thermomix. Is that big in the United States? This is essentially it's put a small amount of automation into kitchens, and what it is it's a pot. It has a mixer inside of it. It's electric, and it has a bunch of settings that basically you throw all of your food into it, and it automates some of the cooking process for you. Okay, it's quite big in Australia. It's become quite big in commercial kitchens and that sort of stuff because they do a lot of the menial work and that sort of stuff. Okay, so that's revolutionized some of the technology in the kitchen. But essentially what I'm promoting today is an idea called what I call homemade. And what homemade does is basically it's a virtual warehousing system for your home. All right? We've got people who live very different lifestyles. We've got people who absolutely love food, people who really enjoy cooking and sharing food with friends. We've got people who are really busy and only eat to stop the signals from going to their brain so they can get back on with doing the things that they want to do. We've got a really growing, very popular focus towards health and fitness and well-being. And so people are looking for really stringent diets. And we've got a lot of people who have got allergies in their houses. So they've got intolerances to types of foods and that sort of thing. This can all be really difficult to juggle. But if you have an appliance called homemade, which is effectively a set of scales, a barcode scanner, and a monitor, and a software system that manages your entire inventory in your home, what this can do is you can say, all right, well, we're a family of five, we're very busy, we have a particular budget for food that we want to spend per week. We've got these types of intolerances, these are the types of foods that we like to eat, and you can put this into homemade. Homemade will say, well, you've got absolutely nothing in your virtual warehouse right now, at which point you need to create an order for your next groceries. Okay? At the moment, how do you guys shop for groceries?
Whole Foods. Well,
Either there or Instacart.
Yeah.
Right. Do you buy all of that online, or do you sometimes find yourself down there working at Whole Foods, packing that stuff into a trolley, into a car?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, right? Now, if there is an inventory management system in your home, as you might know, you can jump onto a website, and you can even maybe Whole Foods. Some of the supermarkets here in Australia do it. They have recipes online, and you can go, oh, that's what we want to eat tonight, and you click on it, and it automatically puts every item into your cart. And then you've got to go through and go, no, I don't need that. I have that. I think I have that in my pantry. I think I have that too. I don't need that. Right? Because it only sells you the full increment, okay, the total item. Now, if you've got a warehousing system in your home that knows exactly how much you have in your pantry, because each time that you select a each time that you select a recipe to cook, it actually quantifies how much of those materials that you're using that you have in your warehouse.
What's your background? What's your background? Like, what led you to think of this idea? Like, what have you done prior to this point in your career?
I'm time poor. Family business. We've worked in basically startups, and we're in construction, concrete grinding and polishing, so diamond tooling and consumables. We also manufacture machinery. So we've gone from having to grow small businesses into fast-growing companies and that sort of stuff, and having to manage all of the types of inventory issues and that sort of stuff too. So after doing all that sort of stuff, you can imagine I come home and I just cannot believe that there's nothing managing my house.
So what kind of hardware would be needed? Because you were talking about some type of device. So does that already exist, or tell me?
So the device is optional, but I think it's pivotal to making it work. And the reason why I think it's pivotal to making it work, now if I walked into your guys' house, into your kitchen, do you have a refrigerator?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see it when I walk into your kitchen?
Yes.
If you walked into a friend's kitchen and they didn't have a refrigerator, would you notice?
Probably, yeah.
Something's missing from this kitchen. Okay. When something new goes into that space, you notice it. Okay. Okay. So, and people talk about it. So if we have an appliance that has the scale, the barcode scanner, and the screen, which is basically the central point, the brains of the whole system that sits on a bench in your home, I think that would be pivotal because one, it becomes very practical.
But does this exist? Like, does this hardware exist, and you're going to bring a new application to it? Okay, so the hardware doesn't exist.
The hardware doesn't.
So what's the revenue model? So families are going to buy the hardware, they'll put it in their home. So speaking to the revenue model, is there a fee for the ongoing app? Like, speaking to the model.
Absolutely. So, of course, there's going to be the cost to get in, and then there's going to be the licensing or the yearly subscription. But this is where it starts to get good. All right. Now, you probably know that there's a lot of companies that provide pre-made food, particularly for people who are working out a lot and that sort of stuff. It's hard for these guys to scale up because it's all based on geographics, right? They could grow by simply selling their recipes. Okay, so now you can live absolutely anywhere in the globe and say, this is the meal plan, and they create the meal plan for you that automatically gets shipped to you from a local grocer. Okay, now you've got the meal plan yourself. You're paying a lower fee because you're having to prepare it yourself, but you've got all the stuff that they proprietary put together. So they would be paying to have that space there. You'd be paying, the user would be paying subscriptions to basically to get those recipes available to them. Same thing happens with celebrity chefs. They go through a phase where they become absolutely fantastically well known, but they can't manage their home life anymore. So they want to change their lifestyle. Now they can actually do a live.
So let's talk about the go-to-market. We definitely understand the use case for it. So let's speak into the go-to-market. So how do we bring this to market? Because we need to get this into retailers. I'm assuming unless you think you're going to do it all online. So speak into your strategy. If we didn't exist, you're doing this on your own. How do you bring the product to market?
It's a difficult one because there's two ways of going to market. Really, there's going to retailers, which is a good way of going, as you know, particularly in the United States. Getting something into the market through retailers is very, very fast. The way that this product I spoke to you about, Thermomix, has grown in Australia is actually basically through home parties. So people selling it inside of people's homes. That's not my preference. I think it's quite slow. The main reason why I think it has worked well is because someone is bringing the product to you and showing you how to use it. And basically you're selling it to people who already know and trust you. So there's a.
I just want to understand the revenue model of it. Is it a monthly membership fee, quarterly membership fee? What's the structure with the retailers, distributors?
Yeah. And that's good questions because so for the homemade subscription, that would be a yearly thing. I wouldn't want to see anything less than a year for that up front. I want people to at least.
Any idea what you're thinking, fee-wise?
What price point are you thinking?
No idea yet. Okay, that will come down to doing a swap. And then, of course, as far as the other subscriptions is concerned, I would expect those to be monthly with the other vendors.
Which vendors are you referring to?
Now, I'm talking about, in particular, people who want to supply directly to you. So that could be people who are doing recipes, okay, online cooking.
Where would you start, though, right? Like, where would you start? Like, one of the things that's so critical, really, and you know this because you work with startups, is like finding a starting point. So, like, the vision of this is clear, right? Like once it works, and this is on every single home, like people can't live without it. But there's like a chasm to cross to go from like this idea right now in the tank to that place. Where would you even start? Like, what aspect of this would you build? Because like I would not go down the path of building the hardware first. Like I'd focus on a simple app to see if people would be even willing to put their time into it. So speak into where you're going to start.
Yeah, okay, so my expectation, and this is not my forte, okay, I'm a hardware person working with industrial equipment. That's my thing. So for me, it'd be the application, building the actual warehouse behind everything, okay, and building the application. Of course, what's pivotal to making it work is that all of this ties into all of your smart apps and smart technology as well, okay? You don't have to be home to check on it. You don't have to be home to change plans for what you're having for dinner. You can do that all through your phone. So if it starts through the phone first and then becomes the then becomes the appliance, that was obviously going to be the lowest cost to get in. But
let's hear our audience. What are your thoughts of Josh's idea here? An inventory management system for your home to ensure that you are optimizing what you have in your pantry and you're able to get the missing ingredients when needed. What are your thoughts? Would you use this, and should we move forward in due diligence? Would you use this?
You know, I like it. I don't love it, to be honest. I think, Instacart and some of the apps out there, it can accomplish the same. But, what type of investment is needed to build this app?
Yeah.
Is it something that's worth taking that risk and doing the proper due diligence to get it to market?
Yeah. So I'll tell you where I stand on it. To me, it's like I want to say yes. You're very likable. I think there's probably a need for something like this. My concern though is, are people going to actually use it? Like, are they going to go and initially when they get the app say, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours and collect all my inventory, and go through my pantry and go through, because if they don't get all the data incorrectly from the start, it's a useless app.
And then you're going to get either two scenarios. One, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard, it didn't work, or a million people be like, man, I thought about that, this was brilliant,
exactly,
and it goes right to the middle.
And that's what
there's no in between.
I'm torn. Like, there's no gray here. And it's because with apps, one of the things, or any tech really, you want to try to find a way to onboard users really quickly. Like how can you quickly get them to start benefiting? And this is not one of those scenarios because they're going to need to put in an hour, 2 hours to go through their pantry, go through their cupboards, go through the refrigerator to determine what they even have in the first place. Once they get the data in there, then it can become something that requires significantly less maintenance, as long as they're using it on a regular basis. Like every day, they make pasta with tomato sauce, they go in, and they actually change it in the app. So I'm going to say to you maybe, and what maybe looks like is you need to go deeper into the thought process here, because I don't know if this will be embraced just based on the amount of effort it's going to take to actually get started. But we're going to send you a document, and part of this document is an exercise we call problem stacking.
Okay.
So a company called Stripe, you familiar with Stripe?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So Stripe came up with this concept called problem stacking years ago. We just expanded upon it. And the whole premise is people have a ton of problems, like a ton. Like every person on the planet probably has 100 different inefficiencies in their life at any one point in time. Yeah. The key is to solve one that falls into the top 5 for the largest number of people. Because if you're solving problem number 74, which this might be, or it might be number 4, we just don't know. But if it's 74, no one's going to use it, no one's going to pay for it. But if we can truly identify that enough people have this problem of inventory management in their kitchen, this is a home run.
Absolutely.
I'm just not convinced that there's enough people yet. So this exercise is going to support you in going much deeper. Once you finish it, send it to our team and we can review it. Great job, and thank you for coming to the tank. All right, after commercial break, another entrepreneur.
The insurance adjuster industry has not received much love in the space of innovation, ever. Professionals in this industry are faced with extremely arduous processes that make scaling difficult and quality of life poor. Claim Guru assists public adjusting businesses by providing powerful tools for managing every step of the claim process, from origination to settlement and beyond. In addition, Claim Guru will help professionals stay on top of their adjusting caseload, proactively guiding them through the process, which makes the customer experience significantly enhanced. Our client-centric approach helps to increase your company's capacity, providing you with the tools you need to grow and succeed. From lead management, contract execution, scheduling, claims filing, claims management, loss scoping, loss documentation, document creation and distribution, file transferring, claim activity documentation, task reminders and organization, form filling and filing, payment intake and distribution. The process is currently way too complex and time-consuming to allow for maximum profits. Until now, we invite you to take your public adjusting business to the next level by hiring a guru, the one and only Claim Guru.
All right, we are back. First entrepreneur from Australia. Let's see who's going to take us that. What is your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Lisa Casanova. I'm from Puerto Rico.
Awesome. Lisa from
love
Puerto
it out
Rico.
there.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to hear your big tech news. You have 5 minutes, Lisa. Please take it away.
Perfect. I will share the presentation, right?
Please do, yes. You can share it right now.
Let's do it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Perfect.
Great job.
Okay, perfect. Let's start. My company name is GW and LC Associate. That's the name of my husband and myself, Lisa Casanova and Jose Wilkes. And our moonshot is that we want to support everyone to comply with their medication therapy, okay? Including the medication therapy of their loved ones. The cell phone, it will become like their new personal assistant that will have the medication information, the list of the possible side effects. It will automate reminders, alarm for the doses, for the refills, and it will have also report and dashboard with the consumption of the doses and the symptoms, and that can be shared with the doctors. That will help the doctor to have a better treatment for the members, for the patient. And also it will see all the medication that the patient took, no matter who is the prescriber. And of course, it will avoid that the patient forget about it. The problem that I want to solve to go there. Do you hear me right? Right?
You're great. Yep.
Okay,
You're doing
perfect.
great.
That we want to solve a few problems. Perfect. For individuals, is that, well, we forgot our doses, we forgot to request our refills on time. And also, it's that sometimes if the patient has too many medications, it's so difficult to have to remember all of them when they are with their doctors. Also, it's a little difficult to comply with the doses and of course, if you are also taking care of someone else, a family member, a friend, someone, it's also difficult to take care and remember all their doses, all their treatment. The application will avoid the need for individuals to remember, have notes or maybe a notebook with the list of the drugs. Here in Puerto Rico, you can have a member, a patient with so many drugs, and they took all the drugs to the appointment just to show it to the doctor. And it will avoid that. For the doctor, it will avoid, they will have a very accurate report of what the member or the patient is taking. And the symptoms, of course. And we can also solve issues for the healthcare insurance because they can see if the member or individual, I say member because I work in a healthcare insurance, sorry for that. For us, it's our members. And to comply with the medication therapy, and for the healthcare insurance that work with Medicare member, they are rated in a star rating system. And one of the measures that is the most difficult to comply is the medication adherence. Okay, and this will help to the insurance to see if the member is complying with the therapy. The solution, well, is a mobile application where that will be like the personal assistant of the patient. Well, and that assistant will give them the information about the medication, about the drug. It will have reminders and alarms for each one of the doses and the refills. It will be like a journal where they can have the side effects or or what is going on with them when they took the drug. Also, it will have reports and dashboards to be shared with the doctor or the health insurance, or maybe if the member, the patient, sorry, and have an accident or something, it's in an emergency care um, settings in an emergency room, it can have in his hand the history of all the drugs and symptoms of what they are taking. It will be very helpful for the patient and also for the physician. Why I am the right person for this? I am right now I am the vice president of a business intelligence and data management in one of the biggest healthcare companies in Puerto Rico. I know the importance of having very accurate and on-point data. And in this case, the interaction of medication, or that if the patient do not comply with the therapy, it can be the difference between life and death for the patient. And my dad died a few years ago, and his last 5 years he was bedridden. And I remember the huge list of drugs that he had, and what's a nightmare to keep up with the list, with the doses, with all the stuff. And this app will help the take care person, the caregiver, with that.
You got one more minute, and we have some questions for you. You're doing great.
Okay.
One more minute, and we have some questions. Yeah.
Okay,
Great stuff.
perfect. And also it will, I know that the doctor needs this information to have the right treatment for the patient. The model, to go really quickly, the app can be acquired 3 ways. It can be free, and then we can sell marketing spaces to pharmaceutical manufacturer, pharmacy, health insurance, and it can be paid in a monthly or a yearly payment, or we can sell it to insurance companies for them to give it to their members to have this information. The marketing strategy with the pharmaceutical manufacturer, insurance company, directly with pharmacies, directly with the patient, social media, TV media. In a Google search, every time that someone looking for a drug, it can be the app there. And you are going to be the perfect partner because you have the technical resources for the app. The app will support the patient in a very serious matter, life or death, the well-being of the patient. And both of us want the same. We want to impact the life of the people. We want to make a difference. And for you to remind me, I am part of the real estate club of Brent Cardone, and also I am on the business side accelerator. And I remember when I saw Jared and he was talking about this napkin idea, and I was thinking about real estate. And then I said, well, I forgot my doses today. I remember my father, and then boom, let's do this. And I am here, and I'm here.
Thank you for letting yourself go there. Like most people don't even let themselves go there. They feel silly when they start thinking of a big idea. Great job, Lisa. You can stop sharing your screen now. So I have a question for you. So when I think that you know this part of the story, but I was already running a incubator before I met Grant Cardone, and he heard about me, and he's like, "This dude is crazy, or he's onto something." But I got to meet him, and I was living in Naples, Florida, like about 2 hours from where his office is. So he invited me out one day. And we ended up talking for about 4 hours that day. Mm-hmm. And in that meeting, he said to me, Jared, I have to support what you're doing. Like, I want to invest in it. Like, let me get involved. Right? Why did he even say that? And the reason he said it is because I had leverage. And that leverage was, I'm doing this with or without you, Grant, and you can't do this without me. Like, that's leverage, right? And I didn't literally have to say that, but it was clear. I was already doing it, and he couldn't do it unless he found a way to get involved and do it with me. How do we get that leverage with the pharmaceutical company? Because they have what you want, right? Like we go build this app for $50,000. It's wonderful, but if your go-to-market strategy is that the pharmaceutical company is going to start recommending this to their patients and even going to pay for it, well, why don't they just build it for themselves? Because they have like limitless amounts of money to build things like this. So explain to me how you get leverage over big pharma.
Well, with the big pharmas, it's just to give them another space to reach the patients. You know, they can market their drugs. directly to the patient, we are going to have their information, the symptoms, what they are taking, and we can direct the marketing to those specific members with these characteristics. And we can leverage the pharmacies.
But you need them though. Like that's what I was saying. Like if you had like 10 million people on there, and then you're going to big pharma, and you're like, hey, we have 10 million people on here. You can start marketing to them, educating them. Hey, by the way, recommend this to your 80 million people. Like then you have some leverage. But if you're coming with 0 people, you have an app. And if your go-to-market strategy is, hey, big pharma, get all of your clients, that's what they are, your customers on this app. Like, why would they do that for you versus they just build their own app that they can communicate through? It's a hard question. Like leverage is leverage. When you can get leverage, you win. Like leverage equals victory, right? Would you agree? Like
100%. I mean, they're the ones that you need, not 90%, 100% to get this to out there to market. So is there anything that you bring to the table respectfully outside of what's really a good idea?
Yeah, because there's a need. Like we would say, there's a need for this. Like especially the more mature generation that is unfortunately on lots of medications and they have to try to remember them, and then their kid is like trying to like oversee whether they're taking them, and they have no way of knowing that they're like we get the problem that we get. It's my concern is more of your go-to-market strategy. It just feels like very dependent on someone who's not dependent on you and doesn't really care whether like, your idea is successful. So we got to create leverage. Like I want to make sure this lands for everybody. Leverage equals victory. And if you could find a way to create leverage, you always win. Like always. Like that is like so critical. It's just hard to create leverage, especially if you're going after something as big as big pharma. But there's a way to create leverage. What you presented isn't that way. So speak into it. Let's do this right now. It's good for everybody. How do you get leverage over big pharma, or do we not even think about big pharma? We find a different route to go to market, get our first 10 million users, and then go to big pharma where we have more leverage. How do we get that kind of volume? Because if we don't have 10 million users, big pharma is not interested.
Yes, that's very true. But I think that we can move and be first with the healthcare insurance. The healthcare insurance, the biggest one, they have the Medicare patients. They are rated in a star rating model, and that model pays them bonuses. And one or two of the biggest or more difficult measures to comply is medication adherence. And if we can work with them first, this is the tool for your members, for your clients, just for them to.
See, I don't think that's how you go to market. I don't think you go to market because they don't need you, right? So I think you go to market through these independent pharmacies that are making money by people actually getting their prescriptions again. We gotta go
a lot
somewhere.
of work, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. But like at least there's like some motivation. Like if they're like, wait, if I can get every one of my clients, like let's say you picked a zip code. You're like, I'm gonna go and tackle every single independent pharmacy in Dallas, Texas, as like an example. So I don't know how many there are. So maybe there's 1,000 of them, or 500 of them, or 200 of them. You're like, I'm gonna literally go door to door, and I'm going to talk to every independent pharmacist and say, hey, we've built an app that's going to allow you to have visibility into whether your client, which is their person buying the drug, has finished their prescription. And then you can communicate with them to ensure they get the next batch of subscriptions. That's how they're going to make their money, right? Like they're only going to make it that way. Now there's some motivation to get this going and to try to I'm not saying that's the right go-to-market, but to try to go after these relationships that just don't really need you is going to be impossible. We had somebody pitch us an idea probably like a year ago, and the entire genesis of their idea was to build a social platform for the 10X community. That was the entire genesis of their idea. And I'm like, okay, how you going to market? Obviously, grant. I'm like, what does grant need you for? Like, grant can just write a check for $100,000 to build the app.
And think about how you and I met. It was all through leverage. Our brother Mike hooks us up. We connect. You have something I know nothing about that, I would love to be involved. And what do I have? Some of the most iconic relationships with the biggest names on the planet over the past 50 years. You have an amazing track record. I have a decent track record. That's how it happens.
And think about this. This is a really good lesson for all of you. Like Darren literally works with like the A of the A in the sense of celebrity, influence, impact, like the top with the 0.01%. Like that's how high level. And he is rapport with them. he has trust with them. You have their phone number. Like if you had a need, you can call them, and they either answer or they call you. Like right, like it's that level of
It's that
care,
level.
right?
Yep.
Right. So what he has access to, I don't, and what I have access to, he doesn't.
Yep.
And as a result, his clients don't either, like his friends.
Yep.
So now we come together because he has leverage over me and I have leverage over him,
Yep.
and we then produce a synergy. And it's
Exactly.
like 1 + 1 equals way more than 2.
Mhm.
It's exponential. So I want you to think about this, right? I really love where your heart is at. I know why you want to do this. You're relevant to do it. You now need to think about, how do we even get this thing to market? Like, what's going to give you like the upper hand to big farmers? That's eventually where you get to. That's just not where we start today. I want in the chat right now, as you're watching this, what do you think Lisa should do? Like, how does Lisa get this app? It's clear there's a need. Like that's for sure. That's irrefutable. Everybody knows the need for this. But without a path to market, this lives in obscurity.
Yep.
And that's like the greatest idea in the world. No one even knows it exists. In the comments below, how do we bring this to the market? How do we get people to this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the document, which is like this maybe document. It's going to force you to go really deep into this. And if you want this badly enough, which I can tell you do, spend some time, fill out that document, send it back to our team, let us review. The reason I'm having you do this is because when you go into due diligence where you need to invest a little bit of money to go into it, I want you to win. And at this point, if you come with just this, the team's going to be like, Lisa, we're not going to get any users. Like Big Pharma's not going to want to help you, and then you're going to be on defense. This is going to give you some time to get onto offense. Go through that exercise, submit it to the team, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, thanks for coming to the tank. We appreciate it. After commercial break, we'll have another entrepreneur in the tank.
Blueprinted is the place where you can go in and put those steps in there and then be able to impact the world and monetize on that by having a marketplace in the community that we're developing for you in Blueprinted.
So we've created the app for any expert to be able to come in and put their steps, their exact steps to success in our app and put it on a marketplace where people can go and buy their steps to any success.
All right, we are back in the tank. We had Australia and we had Puerto Rico. We got another entrepreneur. What is your name and where are you calling from?
So I'm Rahul Vashist. I'm from Delhi, India, and I'm a part of 10x Incubator team as a senior software engineer here.
Well, you're the first person in the 10x family to pitch us in the tank. The first one. Let that sit in. Right? You are a trailblazer within our team with a tech idea. So take it away, my friend. You got 5 minutes. Please share your big tech idea.
Yeah, sure. So my idea is about Internet of Things. So we are using a smart home devices and smart cars, and everything is going on in the whole world. So there is a basic problem inside the Internet of Things is interoperability. What is interoperability? It is like if I talk about Samsung and Philips, this is one use case. I'll give an example of the use case. So there is Philips Hue bulb. Okay, and if I want to convert it into a disco light, then there is a functionality inside the Philips Hue bulb. Like I'll just go to the app and convert it into a disco light, and whenever the music will play, the light will go accordingly. But what about if I want the same functionality in the Samsung thing or Apple smart devices? So this kind of thing is not possible, and this is the major problem inside the Internet of Things, that it is not yet solved. So I've been working on it, this problem for the last 3 years, and talking to various vendors and all the customers. So I found a solution for the problem. So the solution is to build a complete ecosystem and infrastructure to solve this problem, where a developer can build anything without doing everything from scratch. The developer will just go to the tools, write the basic code, and everything will go on. So if I say that I want to build a new thing, I don't have to build my own hardware. Or
so can you explain, because this is technical, so can you explain what's like the difference between this and like just like an open source library, just like for me, for Darren, and for the audience too? Like what would be the difference? Because you're saying like you're going to really streamline the process for IoT, which is really interesting. But like, tell me, like, go now into more layman's terms. Like, how do you literally do that compared to like what exists today? Because there's obviously this open source community, there's the no code community, so there's things out there for the software side. So speak into what makes this different, so everybody can understand.
So what makes this different is that it is the first in the world. It's one of the kind of solution, and what this solution does is it provides a complete infrastructure to the developers. So developer does not need to create the networks. The developer does not need to create a whole mobile application. Developer does not need to create a complete hardware rewrite from scratch. He just have to write a single line of code or two lines of code, and everything will just go on. So this solution is not actually available, and the solution actually available in the markets are not interoperable. So if I'm using Samsung smart home devices, then they can't interact with the Philips devices. Then I have to use separate app for Philips and then separate app for Samsung. So this kind similarly there are a lot of things like if I talk about you are going with a smart car, you are going to your home. So the concept of IoT says that a smart car, when it is going to your house, the house will know that you have arrived. Then when you will go inside your home, the machines will automatically start whatever your planning is there. But currently you are stuck inside a single ecosystem which is providing. If there is new feature, you have to wait for the company. But in this application, you do not have to wait. The third party developer will create for you, or you can either just go and create anything you want.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So where would you start? So like, I know you've been thinking about this for years. Like what has held you back from executing on this? Like, is it just more team? Is it resources? Like, because you've been thinking about this for 3 years. There's definitely a need for this. So you're identifying a very real problem. It's like a unicorn solution. Like this happens and it changes the entire IoT industry. And I have the perfect relationship to support that. But like, what has prevented you from starting up to this point?
So what has prevented me is that lack of resources and team. So to build this complete infrastructure, so I am the only developer here, and I was looking for a team, but unfortunately, I didn't find that team which I was looking for, because to develop this, you need kind of like senior level programmers, and I don't have that much funds to give them salaries and everything. So that has stopped me. But after getting stopped, like I was not able to build that thing, but still I was continuing with my research, and I probably will start it somehow in the near future if I didn't get any opportunity.
This is really technical, right? So this is like accomplishing what he's sharing is like unicorn territory. Like it like completely radically changes the entire IoT industry, which is trillions of dollars of just impact, like if you want to call it that. So, but how do we bring it to market though, right? Let's pretend that you built it, right? How do we make it known? Like how do people
We'll make it completely open source. We'll make it completely open source. So how will we generate revenue then if we make it open source? So I have gone through a lot of customer research regarding that. So what IoT people likes is that what developers like is that they get the things for free. Then I'll develop. Then like if we completely open source the ecosystem, then people will come and they will develop. But after that, how will we get generating revenue? We will use the same. Yeah. So we will be using the same. You can say revenue model like Android. Open source the base thing and earn from the services on top of it. Just create the data and everything.
You're good. We're taking a picture. Keep going. You're good.
We're listening.
So you can just generate data and sell ads, and using that data you can like make things more smarter. So in the end, it has a long way to go. So what I see this thing is as a backbone of Internet of Things.
I agree. Yeah. So do you think there's a way that people would want to like with the like what led to the open source community becoming the open source community is people wanted to just contribute, right? It's like crowdsourcing information. Like what makes Wikipedia more valuable than the Encyclopedia Britannica is that it's literally the world is contributing to it. Like the Encyclopedia Britannica had like 14 people sitting in a conference room writing these articles. I mean, ridiculous. But Wikipedia literally has the world, like the entire world is contributing to it. So there's no way to compare with the Encyclopedia Britannica. It's the reason why the open source community became so valuable. Do you see this evolving into that? People are just like proud to be contributing to this ecosystem.
Yeah. So just make the base model open source and just earn the money from the services running on the top of it. This is the base revenue model which I'm thinking about.
It's really interesting. Let's see what our audience thinks. What are your thoughts of this idea? Our first 10X team member, our family member pitching us.
That's exciting.
Like literally a unicorn right here. So that's pretty darn cool. What are your thoughts? Should we move forward in due diligence with this idea? So I'm going to say yes to move forward in due diligence because first thing, it's very ambitious. So we're going to send you a document to get really prepared for what due diligence looks like so that you can start thinking through a lot of these scenarios that are going to show up in the session with us. We go really deep with you. But what you're looking to solve here changes the Internet of Things, which then changes the world. So I want to make sure that lands. This is big. It's super ambitious. We love ambitious. We love big. But come prepared to due diligence.
And I heard one thing.
Tell me.
Trillions of dollars.
Yes.
Trillions of dollars.
You sat in
Send
this seat
it.
in the tent.
Don't sleep on it. Make it happen.
Listen, you sat in the $1 trillion seat. Like the first pitch ever that I would say is a $1 trillion outcome right here. You sat in that seat.
And I love how chill and relaxed and
go.
focused on your pitch. Just good energy.
Awesome, man.
Make it
I think
happen,
I want
baby.
to say that.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you in due diligence. All right, man. You just sat in the tent.
This is it. It's the $1 trillion seat. Did we get a cut out of this one?
Yeah.
Because I got you
your
up at
presence
6 in the morning for this?
Yeah. Just your presence alone. So what are
We
your thoughts?
invest?
We have entrepreneurs. Yeah, let's do it. Entrepreneurs pitching, right? They're pitching these ideas. These are their dreams, right? Like you get like how powerful dreams are. Like you work with the most iconic celebrity talent, entrepreneurs in the world. It all for all of them, it started as initial concept, right? Like think about like the clients you work with. Like we were talking like before about Hulk Hogan as an example. Like there was a point in time where Hulk Hogan was a napkin, like idea, right? For himself. Like he bought a piece of napkin, like had this idea of what he would become.
It was Terry Boulder. Told me the story again 2 nights ago. Terry Boulder driving 320 nights a year, state to state, no tickets, half the stadium, half the arenas, nobody knew who he was, and then all of a sudden, the Hulk Hogan brand came to life. Rocky 3 happened, and was recognized human being on earth. Brand and guru.
It's unreal, but it's it started as a concept.
Did you ever hear the story about his that he was supposed to have the George Foreman grill?
No.
So Henry Holmes, whose dear friend, got me Pamela Anderson back in the day, and Terry Hulk has been his lifelong attorney, and he's also George Foreman's attorney. So they called him up one day and said, "Hey," he goes, "I got something for you and Lindsay. You could pick one or two. I got a blender. They'll pay you $500,000 one day shoot at the house. Or I got this grill thing, but there's no front money. It's might mount to some back end money." And Linda and him talked. He goes, "Send me over the pitch on the mixer." They did the blender. It died. George Foreman took the grill.
My goodness.
$500 million later.
That is so crazy.
So I tell him, I go, "Thank God." I go, "No, you're rich as fuck." I said, "But thank God you didn't take that grill, because I probably wouldn't know you."
That is amazing. But it's so cool because I want everybody watching this to realize everything that you look up to today, from individual thought leaders, influencers, celebrities, entrepreneurs, companies, it all started on a piece of paper. Like it all started just as a concept, as a dream.
You had it. I had no internet when I started my baseball card business in 1984. There was print advertising in a newspaper that you would get once a week.
Yeah.
That was it.
It just started as a
concept.
concept.
It's just built the relationship building is key. Do the right thing. You make your mistakes along the way. You learn. Surround yourself with more intelligent people that'll get you to the next level, and boom.
There you go. Awesome. And we want that to be for you. The reason we do this show is not just for the entrepreneurs that pitch us. We do it for the audience because we know that you're going to be sitting in the audience. You're going to be watching us. And just one night, you're going to be like, that person looks and sounds like me. I got this idea. Maybe tonight's the night I take myself seriously. Because what if Hulk didn't take him seriously? What if he didn't take himself seriously? That would the world would be different. He's impacted millions and millions of lives because he took himself seriously, and you can as well.
And he brought, and by the way, if you ever met him, I'll tell you the story, but he went to Japan to train. They broke his leg the first, whatever it was, day or two, just wanting to get him out, motivated. Said that's never going to happen again. Put on size, train, took everybody out to do vitamins, diet, and so there are roadblocks. No matter whether it's a celebrity you look up to, an athlete, a musician, every single person has failed way more times than they ever succeeded. Takes that one time.
That's it. I tell you all the time. The bigger the problems you have, the bigger the opportunities as well. Be grateful for the problems. Be grateful for the size and the
Tony
magnitude.
Robbins says the way you deal with problems will determine the quality of your life more than anything, and it's so true. Embrace them. You have to. You got to just deal with life on life's terms, and when you have those days that are off, or those weeks or those months, that's when you will learn the most about yourself.
That's it.
How good are we when life is up here?
Of course,
We're not going to get older anything.
Nothing
Anyone
to
can
learn.
be happy
Yeah.
when life is on top.
Yeah.
You want to be in the thick of things in life. That's where the growth comes from.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Now we got NASDAQ. So thank you for being here. If you got your tech idea, you're ready to take your napkin and make it a
Come in
reality.
here.
Which napkin will become the next exit? Which MVP will evolve into a unicorn? Which cash-flowing tech company will reach the next level? Our hope and desire is that it's yours. Your idea, your MVP, your cash-flowing tech company. Now is your time. Head over to 10xincubator.com and submit your idea so that you get on the tank and give us the chance to transform your napkin into an exit. That's 10xincubator.com. That's 10xincubator.com. Let's go.